everyone, and welcome to Sports Watch. If you like the content, please press the bell icon for further notifications and like, share, and subscribe to the channel. The UFC just started the new year with some big fight announcements by Dana White, and it turned out to be a big disappointment. Couple of needless fights that were announced, which raises more questions than answers. In the main event of UFC 324, it's going to be Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett for the interim lightweight championship. Ilia Topuria is going through some personal problems in his life, so he will not be able to defend his belt in the early part of 2026. That's why this interim title is going to take place. Again, it's a needless fight, especially when you have the number one ranked contender Arman Sarukian in the rankings. Arman, who fought just a week back and disposed of Dan Hooker in the most classiest of fashion, surely deserved something better than what has just turned up. Yes, he has missed the opportunity to fight for the belt against Islam Makhachev when he missed weight, when he wasn't able to continue. That's entirely his fault. And the UFC are hell-bent on punishing him for that. They made him fight Dan Hooker, a needless fight. He beat Dan Hooker. Now, if you are so intent on punishing him again, let him fight for the number one contender spot. Let him fight for the interim belt if you are so intent on making one. But now, you are letting Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett fight for the belt. So, what is the use of the UFC rankings then? Arman is ranked higher than both Gaethje and Pimblett. So, is Dana White paying any heed to those rankings? He announced that the winner of Justin and Paddy will fight Ilia Topuria for the belt. Now, that's a very clear-cut indication where the company is heading in terms of direction. Both Ilia Topuria and Dana White have no intention of fighting Arman Sarukian because they know that the real threat in the division is Arman and not anyone else. So if you're so intent of protecting Arman and Ilia, then why not put Arman and Paddy? They have that bad blood, they have that rivalry. It would have been the perfect foil. But involving Justin Gaethje in this fight is once again a needless fight, in my opinion. Gaethje already fought for the interim title way back against Tony Ferguson. He won that bout and he was supposed to fight Khabib. He did and he lost. Yes, he has had a couple of chances since then to fight for the belt. He has lost them. So it's time to move in the other direction, in the next pool of talent that is in the lightweight division. And what does Dana White do? He just rewards Justin Gaethje with another interim lightweight title opportunity. Surely it will not go down well with the UFC fans, and neither should it go down well with Arman Sarukian. Another needless fight that was announced was the main event of UFC 325. It's now going to be Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. It's a rematch. The first match between the pair of them was won in spectacular fashion by Alexander Volkanovski. He dominated the entire fight and won on every judge's scorecard. Since then, Lopez has fought only once and he has managed to defeat the next contender in line. But does that warrant him a title shot? When you have the likes of Liron Murphy and Movsar Evloev in the ranks, Liron Murphy was probably injured. He was scheduled to face Alexander Volkanovski next. So the injury kind of ruled him out. But what about Movsar Evloev? He is the number one contender in that division for a long time. Somehow, the UFC aren't quite keen on letting him fight for the belt. He is always overlooked, someone always passes him over. And what is even more shocking is that he has a winning record against Diego Lopez. So, what is the use of having a fight against Volkanovski and Lopez when you've already seen what could happen in the previous fight that they fought? So, Diego Lopez, as good as he is getting another crack at the bell by defeating John Silver of all people. Again, that was a very good fight. It was a closely contested fight, but Lopez won. But defeating Silva doesn't really warrant you another title shot, especially when you have so many contenders who are more deserving than you. Now, two things might be the cause of this. UFC don't want Movsar Evloev to get the belt. They know it's difficult to market him, and he hasn't been the most consistent fighter in the company. That is also the truth. They don't want to make an interim title either because Volkanovski wants to be active. And they also know that if Volkanovski and Evloev were to fight, it might be a very different result than what they anticipate. In the last couple of pay-per-views, we have seen what the wrestlers have potentially done to the strikers. It had been total domination both from Chimaev and from Makhachev. So, to see the same thing in the lightweight, in the featherweight division, isn't something that Dana White and the UFC brass wanted. So that might be one reason why they looked the other way. Leron Murphy would have been the perfect choice for Volkanovski, but Murphy got injured. So, who was the next best in line? Diego Lopez came out of nowhere. It was not an option, but still. The Australia card was always there, and Volk had to have an opponent. He wanted Evloev, he wanted the next best challenger. Even Yair Rodriguez was calling him out, but Volk had beaten Yair Rodriguez as well. So, give Diego Lopez a second chance at the belt in a fight that nobody wants to see. So Dana White is essentially messing this up big time. He has always criticized boxing for being unfair on its fighters, but the best do not fight the best. Now he's doing the exactly same thing in his own company, where there is no respect for the rankings, where his own favorite fighters get numerous chances at the belt, while deserving candidates just wait for their turn indefinitely. This can be harmful for fighters. This can actually hurt them. This can break their spirit, their morale. And at some point of time, they might feel that the UFC are trying their best to see them lose.